Alongside Steve Lockmeyer, I'm Dave Morris. On the steps of the Civic Center in downtown Oklahoma City, in front of Bicentennial Park, with the 50th annual Festival of the Arts. I say it's underway. Actually, I think it kicks off at 11 a.m. this morning, but things are going well this week with the festival. Every Friday, we do a live video on newsok.com, kind of recapping the week in review, the stories that were in the newspaper and online at newsok.com, and the stories that are coming up in weekend editions of the Oklahoman. And what better guy to talk about the things that are going on, especially in the urban core of Oklahoma City, than Steve Lockmeyer, who covers all things downtown, midtown, Bricktown, basically anything with the town involved in it, you cover it. Steve, how are you?
All right, thank you.
We should also mention that Steve hosts a chat.
Just finished.
Every Friday morning at 9:30, and I want to get to that. But first of all, let's give these ladies behind us a shout out. They are students with Oakdale.
Hey, Oakdale, represent yourselves.
And Steve, they have the right idea. They have Dippin' Dots because it's a little bit warm out here, isn't it?
Yeah, the sun is out today, but it's a beautiful day.
Well, and these ladies say that they have artwork out here as well. They're trying to find out where exactly that is. But back to your chat, Steve. What were people talking about? What they want to know today?
A lot of interest today in a story I broke today. Only in the Oklahoman, Natural Grocers is on track to take over the Gold Dome.
It is big news right now. They have a location, I believe, at 63rd of May, maybe 67th of May.
And also at 164th and Western. They've got several locations.
So
in the
apparently
city
they're
now.
doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's got a niche audience. It'll certainly be a lot more selection and diversity for folks in the urban core. Really the first large-scale organic grocery. But they've got your staples as well: yogurt, milk, eggs, meats, soup mixes, and all that.
And they focus on the organic foods. And currently we have native food, native roots.
Yes, we've got a
That's
native
down the
roots.
Deep Deuce area.
Yeah, that's about 4,000 square feet. This will be quite a bit bigger.
It's a smaller space, you're right. But this will be a nice sized grocery store at
Right.
23rd and Classen, 23rd and Western, that area. For those of us who live in the urban core, looking forward to have more options in the grocery scene.
I suspect this will actually spur a lot of other growth and development nearby.
Well, I'm sure that, getting back to your chat, I'm sure a lot of people are interested in, Steve, what else?
Well, Classen Boulevard is really starting to take off. We've seen Sunbeam open up its new offices at Classen, and about 8th, I think, or 12th, somewhere in that area. I can't remember it all.
Sure.
We've got a diner set to open at 6th and Classen fairly soon in an old tire center. They had a open roof reception at Sunshine Cleaners last month, a long-time blighted property with great potential, gorgeous neon sign, and that construction's starting up.
That'll be very interesting to see that come online. They're talking a brewery that's going to be in there.
Likely a restaurant, probably.
But you're right, the open air, at least right now, it's kind of open air.
It's kind of cool looking. That won't stay that way, but yeah.
You look at it and you're like, oh, this has a ton of potential and a good location.
Oh, yeah.
You've been covering the expansion of Oklahoma City and downtown Oklahoma City to the west, and that's what you're talking about with the Classen corridor and 21C.
Also, 21C opening up this summer, construction starting up around that on housing and retail. It's just an explosion on the western fringe.
So that was a story you had in today's Oklahoman, and of course you could see it last night on newsok.com, oklahoman.com for those that are subscribers, which is the benefit of being a subscriber.
Yes.
You get some advanced content,
That's right.
which is always good stuff. But you focus more on the history of the Gold Dome as much as, hey, there's a grocery store coming in here, but the significance here is what's happening with that building.
Yeah, it's really about, some people are saying, well, will this satisfy all of downtown or the central core's grocery needs? I'm like, you're not getting the story. This is the Gold Dome. It has escaped very, very narrow encounters with total demolition.
With the Wrecking Ball?
Bank 1 sought to tear it down and make way for a Walgreens there. Another owner later on sought to briefly tear it down. Found out later it was for a on-cue gas station. But they figured out real quick, the public's not gonna like this. So that went away. We saw one owner who tried to make some fixes to it, and I'm optometrist, but she really didn't get it all done, and it was a bit too much for her. And that really didn't last because she didn't do the thorough overhaul it needed. Now we've got a developer who's starting to build a nice track record, Jonathan Russell. He did the rise. It took longer than people were expecting, but he got it done. It's very nice.
It is nice.
Home to the Drake, to some furniture store, interior furnishings, New York bagel shop, a tea shop. It's a nice mix there. Clothing shops. He did a really nice job. It's also got pizzerias. Gusto is part of that.
And the Pump, it's very popular right now. Good urban corridor for people of all ages or millennials to go hang out.
So this is a guy who's proven he can do historic properties and really bring them back to life. In this case, Natural Grocers has a developer they like working with. So the deal that's pending right now would have it sell from Jonathan Russell to the developer and Natural Grocers, but he would remain involved to ensure it does not get destroyed and that the historic integrity is not destroyed as well. They will tear down the drive-through. I'm a great lover of whole buildings. People would say I'm a preservationist, but that drive-through is not original. It was built quite a bit after the Gold Dome, and it does not reflect the history of that building in any way. So,
the footprint of that building has a good parking lot too, so it really works well for a grocery store.
And tearing down that drive-through will allow for 10,000 square feet of ancillary retail, which is what would make the deal work.
I remember, now that you mentioned that drive-through, I remember walking, I think I caught up with you on a story there that we did a couple years ago, and walking back to my car in the parking lot, a person was like, hey, what's going to happen with this building? I was like, well, we don't know. It's still developing. And she said, that drive-through would be a good drive-through tamale stand. And I was like, I can't argue there. It's good thinking.
I'm not sure tamales would add to the financial viability of the whole property. I could be wrong.
Maybe not, but they're tasty.
Yes, they are.
What else was on the chat?
Well, we've had a lot of stories breaking the last couple of weeks. There's a Markham Motors building in Auto Alley. Next to Red Prime Steakhouse. It's been empty for about 20 years. Gorgeous building, built around World War I. There's a couple of different records with different dates of when it was built, but certainly post World War I. And it's a gorgeous building, but it's been empty for 20 years. There's a law firm now renovating it. They're going to add a rooftop conference center terrace. It'll be very nice. And then we've got a proposal for a 5-story retail building with structured parking for each level, very different than anything we've seen, for 11th and Broadway. There's going to be some debate over this because it's a very different design. It's been done elsewhere, but that is coming up.
Let's talk about that for just a second. We're here at the 50th Annual Festival of the Arts, Bicentennial Park. We're standing on the steps here at the Civic Center Music Hall. Tim Money behind us has got us framed up nicely. As you can see the skyline of Oklahoma City. Steve, on Wednesday night they had the Angels and Friends party inside here at the Civic Center, which is their annual fundraiser for the Arts Council OKC. I was speaking with Lynn Crow. So she runs Tees, which is right next to 11th and Broadway, the building you're talking about. It's a showgirls, entertainment type thing.
Get fit, excite your husband at the same time.
There's that. But anyway, her family owns that building, and apparently there's extra space in that building, second floor, storage, stuff like that. She was curious about the story you had about, okay, how's this going to fit in this area?
That's part of the debate. There are those who say there's no precedent for this kind of design, especially with the balconies. And so that'll be a point of contention, although I will point out there is no precedent for rooftop terraces and patios until a few years ago. And those were allowed and those
quite popular.
Change isn't always as we envision it. Some change is good, some change is bad. We'll just have to wait and see how this works.
General manager of the Civic Center just walked by us.
Yes, he was here, I suspect, when the festival was here before. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Well, and you're talking about change, and that's the perfect segue into the Festival of the Arts, relocating from the Myriad Gardens, that area where Stage Center was, to returning to its roots here at Bicentennial Park. And you're the perfect man to talk about this, so I'll throw it to you for some history.
Well, let's talk about the park here, first of all. Historically, it was known as Civic Center Park. I personally still like to refer it that way. A lot of others do too. It was renamed in 1976 when everyone was celebrating the country's bicentennial.
Which is no small thing. It's bicentennial after all. Just much like today's like today's Earth Day. Happy birthday, Earth. I don't know.
I don't know if that name really reflects the culture and heritage of our city as much as the idea of the Civic Center does. The Civic Center was historically the name for not just the music hall, but City Hall, County Courthouse, all built as once. It was our first maps. It was an amazing achievement in the depths of the Great Depression, and I personally regret that we quit honoring that heritage and went for a more gimmicky fad of the moment. The Bicentennial's been over for quite a while. So we can call it Bicentennial
About
Park, we
40
can call it
years.
Civic Center Park. I personally still refer to it as Civic Center Park. That's our heritage. But let's talk about it. This park was here when this whole complex was built. Gorgeous architecture. Some cities did it wrong. This is something Oklahoma City did very, very right. You look at the architecture, the Art Deco design, the grandeur, the permanence of the materials of the limestone and all that was used. It holds up. It's timeless. The engravings and the metal entrances, it's really amazing. And for the longest time, this area kind of started to go into a slow decline. The festival started here in 1967. At the time, the park had a lot of old growth trees. It had a lot of monuments just placed everywhere in the ground, even little stone markers. And it got muddy from time to time. It wasn't designed for this kind of event. It went through a couple of overhauls during that bicentennial that we talked about. They put up what was essentially a big boxy bunker with an underground area right where the fountain starts now. And it was a terrible idea because during the rest of the year, you had people going in there and engaging in less than desirable activities out of sight. And damage happened. It became littered. It had a stench to it. It was an eyesore very quickly. It was badly thought out, badly designed. I'm sorry. It's just truth. And that conclusion was made by the city ultimately when they tore it down for the next makeover of the park, which occurred in the late 90s as part of the renovation of Civic Center Music Hall. Now at this time, the festival had moved on to the Myriad Gardens a good 15 years earlier. Back in the mid-80s, the Myriad Gardens was opening up. It didn't have much going for it. And the festival had outgrown the park here as it was configured then. And there was really not a very desirable area. So they moved to Myriad Gardens, helped that mature and grow, got people familiar with it. Well, flash forward. You have the park made over as part of the MAP Civic Center makeover. And that lasted for a few years. And then we had Project 180. Rand Elliott worked with a Tulsa firm to redesign this park. There are some debates over some of the items he wanted to do, and at first it didn't seem clear if this park fit a purpose. Keep in mind, there is no need to move the festival when this park was being designed by Rand Elliott. This is about 2009, 2010, after Project 181 first started. So he came up with this design. It's got a lot more concrete plazas. It's got a fountain in the middle. It's got some nice trees, and it's got a lot of these little walls that can double as seating. Now, at the time, it didn't come clear as to what this would all come out to, how would it be used. And then we had development going on all around the Myriad Gardens, and it became clear it had to move. If for any other reason the streetcar is going to be going down Hudson Avenue, which was where the Arts Festival Plaza was,
Sure.
and you can't do that. So an in-stage center site came into play. So you have this gorgeous park that was historically the home of the festival. When it started until the mid-1980s, and it is a perfect fit. It has so much more seating. It has these great event spaces, historic event spaces for the festival organizers, as you pointed out. It's got City Hall is another backdrop. You've got these roads that can be shut down. There's so much more usable space. This is perfect. And at some point, next 10 years, there may be some who advocate it should move to New Quarter Shore Park. I'd be real careful about that. This is really where it belongs.
Seems like a good footprint here. When you walk in, it seems like things are well contained. You have the food on north and south on Couch and Colcord. Walker's shut down in front of City Hall, which is where the main stage was. In fact, Mick Cornett, during the opening ceremonies, the mayor said, we need more events this far away to where I can just walk out of my office and, give a speech.
And folks in the Central Business District, they're getting out here. They're engaging. The schools are getting out there. And also, I was talking to Police Chief Bill City yesterday on a totally unrelated matter. You know, his office from the new police headquarters looks out onto this park. And he was talking about how much easier it is to provide security, to keep an eye out on people's safety in this location.
I'm sure that's true.
It's not so spread out that it's hard to track people, to keep your kids safe. This is really the best location. If you were to design a location for the Arts Festival, this would be it.
I think Steve Blackmeyer likes the location of the Festival
like
of the Arts
this
year here at Bicentennial Park. The Art Museum, Oklahoma City Museum of Art, they had their Thursday night patio for $5. You get into the museum, and up on the patio or the balcony, you could
They've got a great view of
you could
all
overlook
this.
this as well. So that was good. Lots going on in Oklahoma City. The Memorial Marathon is bright and early Sunday morning. We were reminded on Twitter the expo is underway right now, or 11 a.m. shortly, over at the Cox Convention Center. So you can get signed up and registered, and then check out the expo and all that sort of stuff.
You have Earth Day at the Mary Gardens.
Earth Days at the Mary Gardens, that's right. I was at Norman Music Festival late last night with Cami Stinson, JB, and Evan Crowley and those guys. So that's going on all weekend down in Norman, various locations. Steve, let's look ahead.
We also have a playoff game coming back.
Well, Monday night, Chesapeake Energy
Definitely.
Arena, the Thunder, the Mavs. Hopefully they're up 3-1, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just segue a little bit here on the Thunder. I was talking with Amy Nelms at Red Piano Bar last night at the Skirvin. It's like, actually, the Thunder losing a game, having an extra home game, is not a bad thing for the
they
local
like
economy.
that. They won't be openly cheering for that, but yeah, they certainly like extra playoff games.
We've done the math on the economic impact
Millions.
of these, and it really is a big difference.
The hotels fill up, the restaurants fill up. When we're playing Dallas especially, remember the old days in the 1980s when everyone went to West End? They're coming to Bricktown. We
Sure.
get them back. So that's some money that we brought down there they can bring back now.
Steve, what are you working on for the weekend?
Let's see. I've had centerpieces every day this week, so I don't have anything this weekend. I'll have a fun story for next weekend I think everyone will enjoy.
This is teasing ahead, ladies and gentlemen.
And I'm trying to focus. I will cover bad news as it occurs, but there's a lot of good news going on, and I'm doing my best to get to the good news first.
It's good to hear some good news, and there's a lot of bad news that happens, and which leads me to my final point, Steve. Yesterday, the passing of His Purple Majesty Prince. Do you have a favorite Prince song?
Oh yeah, it's probably 1999 or Little Red Corvette.
It's good stuff.
When I was,
Did you ever see him in concert?
you know, when I was 16 years old, I was working at Brahms down the street from my house, and there were a group of coworkers planning to go see his concert. I think it was at the Mary Convention Center. It was around 82, 83. And,
Tim, were you there?
We had a person buying up tickets, and I was asked if I wanted to go. They needed $15 from me. And I had $15. I wanted to go, but my parents, well, I didn't think that they'd be quite happy with me, and I was not the rebellious one among the four siblings in my family. And knowing that little Nicky was out there, I decided,
Little Nicky was a game changer.
They probably would be unhappy if they heard that particular song, if they wanted to find out who it was I was going to show for. And looking back, I wish I was just a little bit more rebellious.
Well, that song actually changed some history with the parental explicit lyrics on album stickers type thing. I saw him in 2004 at back then the Ford Center. Fantastic show.
Yeah.
Tremendous talent. More coverage of downtown Oklahoma City from Steve Blackmeyer can be found basically around the clock if you follow him on Twitter. But of course, continuing coverage in the Oklahoman and online at newsok.com. Thanks to the ladies from Oakdale. Best of luck to them with their Dippin' Dots and their art here at the Festival of the Arts. Steve, I know you need to get to a meeting, so we'll shut it down at this point. The Festival of the Arts runs through Sunday. The Memorial Marathon runs Sunday morning. And for more coverage on all these events, check out newsok.com.